Hi, my name is Afis, and what I'm going to be going through in this series of video or throughout this video, which is actually like a course because it's going to be a bit long, is that we want to learn about the EB1a, which is the extraordinary visa category. Basically, it is that category of employment-based visa petition that is called the extraordinary ability visa. So basically, you are petitioning, you are petitioning the USCIS and telling them that you have an extraordinary ability. Because you have an extraordinary ability, they should allow you come into the United States or allow you live permanently in the United States. So there are several categories of the employment-based visa. Basically, we have several categories, but what I want to focus on now is the EB1a. And why am I doing it? The reason I'm doing it is recently or last year, I got my EB1a approved and I got my green card. And after that time, I have a lot of friends and some pretty close friends they also wanted to do. And some of them, I was even the one that reached out to them. Oh, based on your profile that I know, I think you qualify. Why don't you give it a try? So a couple of them did it. Then some of these my friends, maybe some of the people that have done it in the past, they knew I've gotten approval, that I've been helping some of my friends. Then they start telling some of the other friends too. Then what usually happen at the end of the day is that almost every weekend I have to jump on a call, 1 to 2 hours call, explaining the same thing over and over again. Then the following week I meet someone else or somebody else chats me. Then I need to explain it. So the time is not really on my side again to keep doing that every time, every weekend. You understand? So I dedicate almost hours every weekend to do this. So I think a more sustainable way is to have a video where I can explain the whole process that is actually going to be a launch pad for you. Something that once you watch, you understand. If you don't understand before, and it is going to allow you fly, basically. You know, it's like the trampoline of that toddlers jump on. You know, once you jump on it, it takes you higher, right? So that is what I want to achieve in this video. I want to explain how you can petition yourself, how you can do it on your own. And even if you want to use an attorney or you want to use an agent or a paralegal, the fact or the key is you still need to understand the whole process so that you will be able to do a good review, so that you'll be able to convince and explain your work to the attorney or the agent or the paralegal. So that is the guide, but the focus is really on people that also want to do it on themselves. They want to write the petition on their own and they don't know where to start. They don't know how to piece everything together. This video is for you. This video is for you. Another category of people that this video is going to be important for are those people that are maybe they just arrived in the United States and you think you don't qualify yet, but you don't know what to do or what you can start doing to position yourself or how you can meet those criteria. You need to understand it, because when you understand all these things, then you can begin to work towards it. Position yourself. You see opportunity within your university, within your professional organization, collaborate with others on their work. So it means you don't, when you are actually ready to do it, what I mean is, by the time you are actually ready to do it, you are not just starting to build your profile. So learning about this allows you to internalize it, start positioning yourself so that by the time you are eventually ready, you have everything it takes for a winning profile and for an approved case. Usually by the time you are ready, it's not every time that your profile is actually ready to get qualified. So it's always better to be proactive and act faster. So whether you are just arriving in the United States or as a student, or maybe you're outside the United States, you are studying one program or the other, and you have planned to come and work and live in the United States permanently, then learning about this process, what to do, how to position yourself, what are those things you can start looking forward to? Who are those people you can start collaborating with so that you get their media? Is there a way to position yourself? All those kind of things is very important. So new students, people in outside the United States, people that don't know how to do it on their own, and people that also want to use attorney, but you still need to learn the process so that you can be able to convince your attorney or whoever is going to help you. So all these things, it's eventually very important. So like I said, the EB1a is that visa category. There are several categories, like I explained, that allow you to self-petition, which means you don't need your employer to do it for you. You can actually write it yourself. You don't need any authorization from your employer. It's not tied to your employer, and that allows you to get your green card eventually. So basically, there are two steps. The first step is I-140. That is when they actually check, okay, do you qualify for this visa? So qualification does not mean that they automatically give you the green card. After they've checked your qualification through the I-140 and they approve you, then you go through to the next stage, which is the stage where you apply for the actual visa. The process of applying for the actual visa depends on where you are. If you are in the United States already, you do what we call adjustment of status, which means you're on a temporary visa like a J1 visa, or a F1 visa, H1B visa, and other kind of visa that you may have. You understand? And you want to adjust your status from that temporary visa to what? To the permanent permanent residence or to the green card. So that's what you do. But if you're outside the United States, you don't do adjustment of status or I-485. What you are going to be doing is consular processing. You need to attend an embassy interview and do all those things. So basically that is the process. But irrespective of whether you are inside or you're outside, you still need to do the I-140, which is the actually main stage. It is the challenging phase for a lot of people. You understand? A lot of people can still do I-485 on their own. A lot of people, but the I-140, usually it takes some time and you need to understand a couple of things. And that is why we are here. That is why we are here. So basically, everything I'm going to be saying comes from what is on the USCIS website. Yes, the official website that tells us what EB1a is. It comes from my own personal experience for myself and in helping other people, what I have discovered, what works and what doesn't work. So that is it. I'm not an attorney, I am an engineer, but I've learned how to do this thing. I've helped some of my friends. Another important aspect that I also need us to understand is that the backbone of your petition also is what I call documentary evidence. Theoretically, you may meet maybe all those criteria yourself. You can meet them. Or you meet 8 or 7 out of 10 criteria. The question is, what is the evidence that you have those criteria? So, what I mean by evidence is, for any claim you make, you need to explain. For example, if you claim to be, let's assume one of those 10 criteria is, okay, you need to have a particular gender for you to qualify for EB1a. That is, let's assume it is not. But let's assume that, okay, you need to be a male. Then if you are a male, then you are what? Someone of extraordinary ability. That is an example, right? And you want to tell USCIS, okay, I'm a male, or this is my gender, I'm a female, and I have extraordinary ability. You need to bring evidence that shows that you are a male or female. You cannot just say that, oh, look at me, I'm a male now, or look at me, I'm a female. No. You need to tell us, okay, which hospital were you born? Which doctor pronounced you as a male? Your birth certificates, what does it say you are? Okay, male. Okay, are there anything? Okay, your body features. Okay, you have beard. Okay, and according to this study that says that any person that has a beard, this kind of voice, this physical body structure, if they have all these kind of things, then they are a male. Because of that, I am a male and I am someone with extraordinary ability. You cannot just say that, oh, look at me, I'm a male and I have extraordinary. No. You need evidences to show. So if you have an award, for example, you need to tell us what is the award. You need evidence for it. How are you selected for the award? That is another evidence. You need to show it. You need to give us the proof. How are you selected for the award? Who are the panel that judge you to be selected for that award? How many people in the world are giving those kind of award? Is that award from a international body? If it is an international body, what is the evidence? Who are the people that have won those kind of award in the past? You need the evidence. You need to prove, add all those things. So that is what we call documentary evidence. One of the criteria is you need to judge the work of others. If you have judged the work of others and you want to add it as a claim to your petition, you need to say, okay, documentary evidence means that, okay, what did you judge? Whose work did you judge? When did you judge it? And so is it an email? Is it a letter of acknowledgement? Is it a thank you note? When you are judging, what did you do? Who are the other people that judge? So all those things are what we call documentary evidence. You need to add documentary evidence. You cannot just say that, okay, I have reviewed 10 papers of IEEE and you stop there. No. What you need to do is, okay, I reviewed so paper, so date. This is the evidence. You give it to them. It is from this journal. This is an acknowledgement email that I was sent. This is the portal that shows that I actually reviewed. This is the paper that I actually reviewed. This is the acknowledgement, like a thank you email that was sent to me, or a thank you letter that was sent to me after I reviewed. All these things are going to be evidence. You cannot just say that, okay, you cannot even send your judging notification, or whether you review a paper, for example, alone, because you may receive a notification that you have been accepted as a judge and you did not actually do the judging, which means you need to add the acceptance notification of you being called a judge, then a proof that you actually do the judging, maybe it's a picture or anything, you add it. Then you need to add an acknowledgement email from the body that says that, oh, Hafiz Jimoh actually was a judge. So those are documentary evidence. The other aspect is contest. At any point in time that you are writing your petition or you are structuring your petition, you are making your argument, you are selling yourself, you need to explain the context. If you have a Nobel Award, the fact or the truth is, or you, let's assume, another example I can use for the contest is Ballon d'Or, for example. Ballon d'Or is a football award, right? But let's assume someone doesn't watch football and doesn't know what Ballon d'Or is. And you want to apply for EB1a that, oh, I have won a Ballon d'Or before. You need to explain the context. What is Ballon d'Or? Who are the people that are given Ballon d'Or? Which kind of work do you need to do to get Ballon d'Or? Okay, you need to have played for Champions League, Premier League, scored so number of goals. All these kind of things are the things you are going to put. It's not just about the evidence alone. Remember I said documentary evidence is important. But again, you need to explain the context. The context is important to show that you are really someone of extraordinary ability. To let them, the USCIS officer that is going to review your case is going to pretend as if they don't know what that award is. So even if it's a Nobel Prize, if you won an SNSF award, or a poetry award that is a national or international award, or a Grammy award, you understand, you need to explain what this award is. Which kind of work do you need to do to get that award? So if you don't do all those evidence and you just focus on the, if you don't do all those explanations and you just focus on the evidences alone, it's not going to be enough. So they treat each case as a fresh one. So that is going to give you the example. So if you judge the work of others, also, for example, the context matters. Okay, which work did you judge? You understand? Or you judge for an international organization, for IEEE, or maybe for some competition. Okay, what is the importance of judging? Who are the kind of people? That is why you need to talk about, okay, who are the other judges that were judged? For example, I'm not a PhD, and I judge the work of others somewhere. I can say that, okay, because in this judging role, the other people that were judges are professors, top engineers in their field, innovators, and this is the evidence that these are the other people that are judges in this field. So if I'm a judge like those other people for this competition, or for this review that we do, or for this hackathon, It shows that I am an expert who has risen to the top of my field. Like these other people, as a result, I qualify for this criteria and I have an extraordinary ability. So you must always come back to hit the nail on the bar, to round everything off on how that criteria makes you have extraordinary ability. You understand what I'm trying to say? So one part is ability to sell yourself, documentary evidence, and context on how it makes you have extraordinary ability. We have high salary, for example. It's not just enough to say that you earn high salary. You need to explain the context. We have high salary, for example. It's not just enough to explain that you have high salary. You need to explain the context. Okay, I have high salary. We agree. Based on this data, you have high salary, 90% percentile in your field. Perfect. In your state, perfect. Those are documentary evidence. But the context now is explaining that because you are rising to the top of your field, that is why you earn that salary. Because you are an expert, you are contributing, you are making some original contributions in your work, in your workplace. That is why you have those high salary. A lot of time I see on the internet and people say that, oh, somebody is a founder and got accepted to Y Combinator, for example, and they do not get approved for EB1a. And people are like, oh, US denies them. I mean, sometimes we can say the officers could be subjective or they are inconsistent, but a lot of times that is not the issue. The question is, okay, let me see your original petition. Then you will see that some people have a very high profile that you see that, oh, this is an EB1a material. But because of that assumption that, oh, I qualify, they are like, oh, they don't go the extra step. They don't do the extra work, whether the attorney or the paralegal that worked for them or the agents or themselves that they wrote it themselves. They don't do the extra work to explain. You understand? Let's assume you built an app that is being used by hundreds or thousands of people. You need to explain the concept. You got accepted to YC. You know, there was a founder that was rejected. USIS told him that YC, Y Combinator that he got, which is an accelerator that he got accepted to, is like a coding school. You know, because there was no context that was explained. You understand? So a lot of things happen at the same at every time. What I see is when sometimes I talk with people, they are like, oh, if Hafiz or if Mr. A or Mr. B that we studied together in so university can get it, it means I can get it. That is a good spirit to have, but it does not mean that you are going to get it. It is a good spirit to have. I saw some other people that got it, that motivated me that, okay, it is also possible for me to get it, which is a very good spirit to have. But the truth of the matter is, because you know someone that got it, who you are in the same class, or you live in the same place, or you work together, does not mean you can get it automatically. You need to analyze your profile. You need to find a way to tell your story. You understand? And explain all those contexts. So two people can have the same profile, submit the same kind of evidences to USIS. One person gets it, one person does not get it. One of the reasons is that context. If the context is missing in your story and the explanation of how those things you meet make you qualify, make you have extraordinary ability and make you top of your field and benefit to the US, national importance of those work, then it will not really be a strong case. So these are necessary foundations that I need to lay before we go in depth into all those kind of into those criteria and how you can make those arguments. They are going to be repeating themselves, but once you understand this and you internalize it, in fact, you are ready to fly. You are ready to tackle what you have to tackle. Okay, so now we are going to go into those 10 criteria. After we've gone and we've done the explanation, then we can look at how to structure your petition letter in terms of the writing process. But at this stage, what I usually tell people is, it doesn't start with the writing. It starts with you analyzing everything you've done in the past 10, 15, 20 years, depending on your age. You look at all those things, you will write them down. You understand? you look at the 10 criteria of USIs and you try to do what we call profile matching. Like, okay, this thing that I've done in the past, which place does it fit into in the 10 criteria? You understand what I'm trying to say? So everything you've done. So this is not a resume now. It is a detailed CV. CV contains everything you've done. Even if that thing you did, if it's just for 1 hour. For example, you could judge, and that judging that you did is just for 1 hour. Or you did a contribution. For example, you could judge, and that judging you did is just for 1 hour. Or you contributed to something, or you made a presentation somewhere, or you organize an event, and that event is just for 1 to 2 hours. It does not mean that it is not something worthy. You could potentially include it in your petition. So the point I'm trying to make is write everything you've done. Then the USI's criteria, or the 10 pillars, the 10 criteria that you see now, we are now going to look at it. Okay, which one does it fit? But when you are trying to look at this thing that I've done, where does it fit? It requires you to understand the 10 criteria very well and what USIS is looking at. So we are going to be doing everything together. But when I work with people, basically what we do together is we take those 10 criteria and we are going to do like bullet points of, okay, you are a scientist, or you're an engineer, you're an artist, you've done this, you've done this, you've done that, you've done this. Then we try to put all those things under any of those each of those criteria. We delete the ones that we are not. So at the end of the day, you might be left with 4 or 5 criteria with sub points of those things you've done under each of them, which is a very good way to start with. But first of all, let us look at each of those criteria one by one. So the first criteria we are going to be looking at is award of excellence.